You're listening to a Faith Matters podcast. Again, we've got Jax and Umberto in the studio. Welcome, guys.
Thank you.
Hello.
So if you haven't heard us before, this is a segment we have every fortnight, and it is called Marriage Matters. So it is a segment on relationship. And the last couple of times you guys have been in, we've talked about his needs and her needs.
Yeah.
We have.
Yeah, in detail.
Which is
Challenging.
quite interesting how we really do approach relationships so differently from each other.
Yeah, we're different perspectives, eh?
Yeah.
Our brains are wired differently, so yeah.
Absolutely.
Last time we spoke more about sort of really specifically identifying those needs of his and hers kind of thing, right? And obviously where we try and spend most of our time trying to convince the other to do things my way and that kind of thing, right? But I suppose it's a matter of trying to understand that we actually are wired differently. That doesn't mean that one or the other is wrong, but we're just different. And if we understand that and work on trying to understand each other instead of fighting each other, things can get much healthier and easier to work with, basically, right?
Yes. No, it was really, really good. So I encourage you, if you missed either of those sessions, you can actually go onto Reagan Community Radio and find Faith Chats. And on there we have got the Marriage Matters segment without the music in it, just so that you can listen to it like a podcast and get that those back shows if you happen to wish to. But today we are moving on from sort of specifically his needs or her needs, and actually we're going into some things that apply to both of us in a relationship.
What? Take it away.
Yeah, take it away, Umberto.
She's scared to say the word.
Yeah. Okay, go.
Servanthood.
So servanthood, there we go. Jackie said it.
I'm not scared.
Yeah.
It's a beautiful thing.
It's a different aspect, I suppose, of love and marriage, but it still concerns his and her needs, but specifically, how can we best achieve that? And I suppose it's our attitude towards that. And our attitude we're talking about today is servanthood. And that servanthood includes sacrificial love, something we've kind of touched on before, I suppose, but maybe need to dig a bit deeper on.
Yeah, I think
and,
so.
These are words that obviously from a Christian perspective, we talk about meekness, servanthood, selflessness, which in the world they're weak words. They sound like they're weak words, right? What are you talking about?
Weakness of character.
Yeah, serving, meek, mild, selfless. Yeah, what's that about? But I think, serving each other is an aspect which sort of reflects the fact that we can't meet our own needs, right? And we all have what the other one needs. When we get married, we only have what we can to serve each other. And we decided that you are my source of meeting those needs when we got married. And so...
it doesn't mean you're a doormat.
It doesn't mean you're a doormat, and it doesn't mean you're weak. But it does mean that I'm looking to you to serve my needs, same as you're looking to me to serve your needs, right? And that comes down to serving our needs in terms of how we feel about the home, security, how we feel about each other in terms of intimacy, be it sexual or non-sexual intimacy, affection, all those things. We get that from each other. We don't go looking for that from anyone else in the world.
Oh, we shouldn't.
No, we shouldn't, obviously. Yeah.
Okay, so let's pause there. So when we don't get those things, when we don't meet each other's needs in a relationship, it's at that point where it becomes easy to... Somebody else very innocently might have a great conversation with you, and all of a sudden that means a lot more than it would have meant otherwise.
Yes. Yeah, we open the door. And so we open the door to those things happening, right? To temptation arising, to us being pulled or drawn into other things that will meet our needs or serve to some degree to meet those needs. Because we need to have those needs met in some way or other, right? So if we're not getting sexual intimacy, for instance, and we maybe then turn to pornography. Because, without even going the further step of going to prostitution or anything like that, but pornography is an easy outlet, right, for that. And so that leads you down a whole different kind of path, which is not a good one.
It leads you down a path, let's say, that's not healthy for your relationship in your marriage.
I'm thinking of a couple I know, and woman said, so this is perhaps less about his needs, her needs, more about the love languages.
Yeah.
And she knows that the guy is really finds physical touch and closeness the highest of his love languages.
Normally.
And yet hers is quality time. So when he hasn't been giving her quality time, she actually retaliates with not giving him physical touch and closeness. And I'm like,
Great.
I mean, I understand the logic behind that, but really you're actually setting yourself up for failure. If you're purposely not meeting that need, then these other situations are suddenly going to become where this guy gets his fulfillment.
Yeah, exactly. And that's the thing, right? So when we start acting or reacting to each other in that way, because we're not meeting each other's needs, and that even comes down to, as you said, the love languages, and we start using that against each other, that then definitely opens the door to, okay, where do I go to now? Yeah, what do I do now? So, yeah, absolutely.
It's a dangerous territory.
Yeah.
But I think also what we need to remember is, because yes, you say, well, if I'm not getting my needs met, I'm not going to meet yours. That's the kind of attitude that starts to develop. But I'm talking about being Christians now. You are responsible for what God has asked you to do. So even if you're not getting the needs met by your spouse, you still need to do your responsibility. Because you don't do because you're going to get back. You do because it's the right thing to do.
Okay.
Okay. And you go and pray to God about your spouse, that He will open their heart, that they will start to do the needs that they need to meet, that they will start fulfilling those. Because for girls, often we think, oh, well, we'll just tell them. And sometimes that ends up looking like it's nagging.
Right.
So therefore, the minute we start to nag, walls start going up. And guys switch off. So I know for me, I used to complain, or I used to say things, but then I found a lot better way was go to God, pray about it. And somehow God changed Umberto's heart without my nagging.
Yes.
But I still had to do what I knew I needed to do.
Right. Wow. Okay. So with that as our foundation, this idea of servanthood in marriage.
Yeah.
I can see Denise is very gingerly asking this.
Well, servanthood, I suppose, works against where a lot of marriages end up, right? Where a lot of two people come together, and there's this vying, the nature of the beast, right? There's this vying for domination or power over the marriage, right? We're vying for dominance, and that's not good in a marriage, right? We're not made to dominate each other. Animals are, but we weren't designed for it. Marriage requires the character of Jesus, right? The humble, the servant, shared control. I think we said before, right? Selfishness. Marriage is a disaster for selfish people, because when you enter a marriage, kind of wondering, where do I get what's in it for me? I won't do that unless I get what I want back, kind of thing. Versus just, I'm here to serve you. I'm here to help you be more of who you are and can be. Right? If that's my attitude, marriage will grow. But if my attitude is, no, I'm not doing anything until I get what I need back first, then that's a disaster. Yeah. It's waiting to happen.
Because it's not a power struggle, it's a power union.
Yeah. It's shared control, it's shared respect, which works way better, right? And we've probably had bad modeling from our parents, because no one ever taught us this stuff. 30, 40 years ago, most of what we're talking about today hardly even existed, right? I mean, all these kind of marriage ideas and skills and kind of principles really came into their being pretty much
started in the 80s.
In the 80s,
where they were only starting to discover this sort of thing. So it's taken a long time.
Before that,
really?
Yeah.
Before that, there was very little that was available.
The research said, there was nothing before then on helping people how to understand what is marriage.
Same as when we went to we first met our pastor, who was a priest,
Presbyterian
guy,
minister,
and it was a session or two on a couple of ideals that he had. There was no kind of like,
it's not like a 6-week course like we do
that he was talking about. Yeah,
I didn't realize that was such a recent phenomenon.
Yeah, like the program we run called Prepare and Rich actually only started in the 80s.
Yeah, and that came out of a resource that was actually driven by a group of universities in the States who were experiencing trouble with their older students, and they were struggling. And they decided to conduct a study on those students to see what they could do to help them. And Dr. Olson was one of the guys who started that. They did a massive study across, I don't know how many thousands of students, married students, or pre-marriage even, dating students. And from that, all that analysis and all that data that they conducted and got back, they concluded these kind of basic ideas that then developed the Prepare Enrich program, which is the marriage program. But yeah, prior to that, there was very little available.
On what, and there's all those other scriptures that talk about, the man is the head of the home, and that's been completely distorted.
Because origins,
you need to do. He's like the authority, and a husband is not the authority.
No.
Jesus is the authority. He is the leader, but not dominant.
So in marriage, we end up with this power struggle. And as the Beviers say, right, it's not meant to be a power struggle. It's meant to be a power union. The two of us coming together should make us stronger as a couple.
Yeah.
And the combined unity of the two of us should be so much more than two individual parts, right? Individually. Together we should be so much more. But instead of that, we end up with this power struggle of vying for dominance. Who's over what? No, I get my way. No, you get your way. No, if you don't do this, I don't get that. And that's not how marriage is meant to work, right? It's not intended to work like that. And God certainly never intended it to work like that, right? We're meant to be evenly yoked. And even yoked goes further than just two mismatched people. But it means in terms of our ability to push forward and carry things forward, we're meant to work on this together and push in the same direction. Right?
Using our strengths to make us stronger.
That just makes so much sense to me, because I grew up mostly in the 80s, and so for my example of my parents now realizing they didn't have access to any of this sort of thing, and for you guys, your parents wouldn't have had access to any of this sort of thing.
I mean, we didn't.
And well, when we were early married, we did, and so I just sort of assumed it had always been something that was there.
No.
We were married in the 90s, and we
it would have
had
been
access to
very
stuff.
new then, just all the research and
wow.
and they've been changing it through the years, which is such a good thing that we got hold of, that kind of resource, because they're learning all the time about relationships.
But if you go back to the 60s and 70s, there would have been zero.
There was nothing. People just, I mean, we just muddled our way through.
So when we model what our parents modeled to us, that would be our natural default. We can learn and add on and grow from that place. And wow, that's so good.
Yeah. And that's the thing, right? So the worldly concept, which goes back to that, is based on having authority.
And what's in it for me?
Yeah.
What do I get out of this?
But Jesus says the opposite. He who humbles himself and serves is higher amongst you, right? I mean, even when he spoke to his disciples, right, when they were
when he washed their feet,
who's going to be where, and he says you'll always be happier serving, and serving doesn't mean you failed or haven't arrived. Serving means that I'm more interested in doing for you what you need than I am out of getting out of it what I need. And if we both have that attitude, that servant-minded attitude, then it'll grow from there.
It takes love to a completely different level.
Yeah.
Because I'm going to sacrifice myself for you. And I think in a previous podcast, right back in the beginning, we did mention this, but it's worthy mentioning it again. Where does your marriage start? At an altar. Ooh. What is an altar? It's a place of sacrifice.
Yeah. Wow.
And we are sacrificing ourselves to each other for God.
Yeah.
Why does it start at an altar?
It's not just a contract, is it?
No. It's not a contract at all. It's a covenant.
Here we go.
Right?
So it's not about a contract is when you exchange something and you get something in return.
Terms and conditions. I get this out of it if you get that. If you give me that.
And if you don't, I can cancel the contract because you don't meet the needs you said you would in there.
And if you default.
Yeah. But a covenant is till death do us part.
I'm in this no matter what. Literally,
and it starts at an altar, which is a place of sacrifice.
So if you were turning on the radio this afternoon for a little bit of light conversation,
You got sadly mistaken.
Apologies. But wow, this is so good. This may just be what somebody needs to hear this afternoon of the way that they look at relationship, the way that they conduct themselves in that relationship, and maybe examine whether or not they're actually in that relationship to try and seize control of it, or whether they would rethink.
Yeah, but I mean, you think about it. I mean, the sound of the word servanthood sounds bad in the world, right? Because you're a slave. Servanthood, slave kind of thing. But it's not when you do it in marriage and you do it right. Because when Umberto serves me, it stirs up in me, I want to serve him.
Right.
And it isn't something that you begrudgingly have to do. You do it because you want to, because of you see the result that it brings between the two of you. And you absolutely become each other's best friends. There's nothing you won't do for each other. And we're not talking about illegal things or anything like that. You know, they're biblical things. So you know whatever it is that God is asking us to do is something good. Good has to come out of it if it's from Him. If it's in the Bible and we do it the right way, it ends up being something really beautiful. And that's what marriage is meant to be, a beautiful union together where we're both growing into the even better people than we thought we could ever be ourselves.
Wow.
But yeah, I mean, that sacrificial servanthood thing, I mean, notion, I mean, to take this to a real different level. I even think about, I spent 40 years in the corporate world. And, it's a cutthroat business, and it's dog eat dog, and, you do what you have to do to get to where you have to get to, right? And I came across a lot of people who were just like that. Not very nice people, and not very nice environment to
and
work in.
And not happy people, eh?
Not happy people. But if you work at your work and you give it, I used to have employees even here, who if I'll do what I need to do just to get through the day and through the job, right? Versus other employees who gave it because they wanted to do their best, and they had the happier life. They had a happier job. We had a better relationship as employee and employer, and all sorts of things, right? The ones who were just out to get what they could out of it, they weren't. They were just
they were miserable.
And they were the time watchers and the break watchers and the this and oh no, I haven't got time for a meeting now. It's too close to my go home time or whatever. Versus the ones who stayed behind and worked that little bit extra, and eventually who'd get the rewards? Who gets the rewards, right?
Well, when I think of sacrifice, like the animals or the grains or the oil or whatever was presented as a sacrifice wasn't to be the offcuts, the mouldy bread or the lame animals. It was
the first
fruits. It was the good stuff.
And
the
perfect.
So thinking of that with our spouse or with our partner, we can often leave them the dregs. Use all the best bits.
They get their leftovers.
The leftovers.
Yeah.
Once we've given everything we've got at work and with our children or whatever it may be, our spouse then gets
what's left
the
over.
little bit that's left. Yeah. Yeah, you're right. Totally.
Wow. Okay, well, let's give people a pause and we will come back shortly. Oh, wow. So we are talking all things marriage. Well, not all things marriage. Today we're talking about a portion of marriage, servanthood. There you go, I said it.
And easily.
You said it. You managed to get
good.
the
Servant.
So you have a different concept already of what it might look like.
Sacrificial love. Yep, no, I'm still squirming with that one.
It's okay. It's okay.
And your finger's going to claw up.
It's a journey.
Correct it. Okay, so how are we going to make this easier to remember, Umberto?
So we've got an acronym, SERVE.
Okay, servanthood. We can do this.
Serve. Yeah. So what is serve as an acronym? So serve is S is for to serving your spouse what they need, right? In spite of what you need. So we kind of already touched on this before,
So S
right?
is for spite?
No, for serve. For serve.
Okay. Good.
And today's issues often stem around the couples we deal with, unmet needs, and you spoke a little bit about that, even in terms of the 5 love languages. But unmet needs and mismatched expectations, all those kind of things. And if I was to serve you, and serve you to the end of kind of saying, yeah, it doesn't matter what I need, but I want to serve what you need, right? Nonetheless, kind of thing. Well, then I'm helping to kind of like build you up. And as I said before, if we both do that, then it'll kind of like really build on itself, right? It'll get its own momentum going, basically.
Yeah. It's without me saying, well, that's silly. Why do you need that? It's got to be done because this is what you say you need. So it's without like dissecting it, isn't it, really? Because then it's not giving you what you actually need.
Yeah. And we've got those basic needs, right? We spoke about them last time. Right? Men need sex, they need friends, they need home support.
Yeah.
Women want security, non-sexual affection, open and honest communication. Yeah. I mean, those are the kind of things we're talking about. It's not rocket science. They're things that we need to help manage between ourselves, right? But we are totally different in how those needs are met. But it doesn't need interpretation, like Jackie's saying. We don't need to dissect it. It just needs you to serve me in those areas. Yeah. What I need from you is to help me through that aspect. And the same the other way, right?
I actually read something, or I don't know, I must be online far too often, but I read something recently, and it was about a guy just fascinated because he each morning asked his wife, what's one thing that I could do for you today?
Yeah, it's perfect.
And what blew him away was that it was something different every day. It might be, could you pick the kids up? It might be, could you help me with dinner tonight? Could we just spend 10 minutes on the couch after the kids go to bed? And every day it was different, but by giving her the opportunity to say, what can I do to help you today? Yeah. Then I guess he was meeting her needs day in, day out.
Yeah.
Well, that's and
then she
thing,
needs
right?
to ask him the same thing.
Yes.
Yeah. And that's a big thing, because saying serve me, because I can't do this for myself. I need you. When we got married, we got married for you and me to serve you, you to serve me, right? If I could service my own needs, I wouldn't need you.
Yeah.
Right? So I need you to help me serve my needs, whichever way around it is. And I think the other aspect of that is I don't need to make you happy to get you to serve me. I shouldn't need to make you happy, and that's the only time you'll serve me.
This almost physically hurts.
Don't choke. Don't choke.
Okay, wow. Okay.
Take a breath.
We heard it said in this way: you go to a cafe for a coffee. If that person serving you comes to get your order and expects you to make them happy before that you can give them the order. I mean, that sounds bizarre, right?
It does.
Why should you make them happy so that they will serve you?
Well, I think
and it's the same in marriage. Why do I have to be happy before I'm going to serve you?
Yeah. I think like
Same
Jimmy Evans says, right, when he talks exactly about that kind of situation, right? E is for enjoy serving your spouse with a joyful attitude, kind of thing, right? Because when you go to for instance, a restaurant, like Jackie was saying, and the waiter says no problem, and you say thank you, and he says no problem, it says the correct response isn't no problem, because it's not a problem for you. It shouldn't be a problem. You're here to serve on me. You're here to wait on me, right? Your response should be my pleasure.
Oh.
My pleasure. That should be your response. Not no problem. No, it's not a problem. If it is a problem, it's too bad. It's my pleasure.
It just shouldn't be a problem.
Hard truth after hard truth.
There we go.
Wow. Okay, so we have done S. S is for serve. I've got that one.
Yeah. E is for enjoy serving.
You know she's going to rush you through all these.
No, I'm not. I happened to see over his shoulder. He's talking about joy.
Yeah, enjoy serving. And that comes with the attitude of no eye rolling either. It's like, oh, really? Yeah, here we go. Yeah.
Marie's laughing in the background.
All the girls are laughing.
And you're not meant to be a burden to each other. It's not meant to be a burden. It's not meant to be something that I find hard.
Or begrudging.
Yeah. And I think that's the big thing. Yeah, it's the attitude. Yeah, if I'm doing it with the wrong attitude, same as when we went to, for instance, we went to Sydney, right?
With a bad attitude.
We went to Sydney with a bad attitude, and we
didn't want to go. Move. When we left New Zealand.
God said to us,
we did not want to go.
God said to us, I'm glad you listened to my calling.
And you were obedient.
But with the attitude you've got, why did you bother?
Wow.
You might as well have stayed
You might as well
in
stay.
Auckland.
And it's the same in a marriage. If you've got a bad attitude about it, then why are you bothering? I mean, if I want to bother because I want to serve you, that's a different thing altogether. But if I'm just doing it anyway with a bad attitude, that's not a good thing. And I suppose the next one, the R, serve, the R is to reject scorekeeping, because a lot of times that happens in marriage, right?
Yeah.
We keep score of what the other one's done. We keep score of where we're at, what we've done for the other.
I'll do it if you do this. And,
Yeah.
Oh, I did this last time. Why can't you do it this time? Well, it's not really how the servant thing is meant to work.
No. Give when you don't want to give, right? That's the thing, right? Give when you don't want to give. And
You give because you know it's the right thing to do,
Yeah.
and then the feelings will follow.
Yeah.
Reject scorekeeping.
Mm.
Okay. I
Yeah.
think a lot of people live with scores.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah, totally.
Mm. And it doesn't really benefit you
No.
in the long run. I think you end up being frustrated when you have that kind of attitude.
Yeah. And then you do start withholding because the other person's got a better score. Oh,
Yeah, you haven't done enough.
Yes.
You still need to build up more points before I consider doing that for you.
Yeah, exactly.
And that's the thing, right? If there's any inner need, is there anything I can do to serve you? If you can't ask each other that whether there's something wrong, whether you feel they deserve it or
Or
not,
are you okay?
it doesn't matter. We need to make sure we're not keeping score in our marriage. We're doing it because you want to do it for you, full stop. Because you deserve that from me, because I'm your spouse and I got married to you and I vowed that I would do that for you, full stop. Not because we're going to keep a tally now of how many times I did this and how many times you did that. That's not the way it is. Yeah.
Yeah, because we have different perspectives and different needs in different seasons. So one of you might need to have more serving in a season than the other, but that's what you do. What if one of you is sick? The other one's going to have to serve you. You're sick.
Yeah, that's actually true. I had a bad back for years and I just couldn't physically do a whole lot of stuff.
And your husband would have helped you?
Yeah, he did.
Yeah.
But it was hard on him because there's a lot of things that he had to step up and do that he wouldn't have naturally done.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
Is he still on the payback scheme?
If he was scoring, I would be a long
Indebted.
way in arrears.
Yeah.
And we shouldn't be indebted to each other as a husband and wife.
No.
We shouldn't.
And then I suppose V, just to start bringing this to a close, is V is to vigilantly protect the priority of your marriage. So we've spoken about this before as well, but the thing is that prioritizing our marriage ahead of family, friends, children, work, career, all those
Sports,
things. We've spoken about all
whatever.
that. And we just mentioned earlier, your spouse doesn't need to get your leftovers. What's left? What's left at the end of the day? The frazzled one coming home from work, and that's not what your spouse needs. Your spouse needs someone who's attentive, focused, intentional, and we need to be that for each other.
Yeah, definitely.
Okay, so now we're all becoming vigilantes.
Yeah.
This just gets better.
Vigilant.
Vigilant.
Yeah, slight difference.
Oh. All right.
We're not going to be killing each other.
Even
with kindness.
Yeah, even Jimmy mentions about the children part. And children is, as he puts them, are a temporary assignment. They're a temporary assignment because when they get married and they move on and they start their own life and that, the next thing you've got two people who are left at home, who now are empty nesters, as the saying goes. And now do we know each other? Because we've spent years just focused on the kids, focused on our career and everything. Now suddenly we come together in this
who are you?
next chapter of life when the kids have moved on. And, okay, they'll still be in our life, but obviously in a removed fashion. And now suddenly within the four walls, it's just us again. And do you even know each other?
Do we have a connection?
Yeah. Do we have a connection?